today we're going to be making vanilla brioche French toast. I love this for French toast. I get it from Walmart in their bakery section. In a shallow bowl, I have 3 eggs, and to that we are going to add a pinch of allspice, 1/4 of a teaspoon of salt. I have blueberry salt here, so I'm using that, but it's not mandatory. You could just use regular plain old salt. I have some cinnamon, about 1/2 teaspoon. We're going to add some vanilla extract, about, kind of tight. Half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, and then some freshly grated nutmeg. It's about 1/8 of a teaspoon to 1/4 of a teaspoon. Now we're just going to use a fork, pop the yolks, and whisk all of this together until everything's like super combined. And then we can dunk in the brioche bread pieces, let them soak in this delicious mixture, and then we're gonna fry them up in some butter. One last thing I forgot to add, you can either use 1/2 and 1/2, which is what I'm using now, or some plain milk. I'm just adding 1/4 of a cup of 1/2 and 1/2 to the mixture and mix this well. You can even use creamer if you have, that would be delicious. If you have like flavored creamer, I've used like the pumpkin spice creamer from Starbucks, or even the vanilla chai creamer. It's really any kind of milk product would work. And I added 2 tablespoons of brown sugar to sweeten it up. You can use honey, you can use maple syrup, just any sweetness that you want to add. We're going to whisk this really well. And then I'm going to start slicing my vanilla brioche with a serrated knife. Usually when you want to cut bread, you want to use a serrated knife so it doesn't squish the bread. So I'm just going to do that right now. I love using this bread because it's so soft and luscious. Like brioche really soaks in the egg milk mixture. And then it has these lines of vanilla custard running throughout. So it's a really delicious bite once it's all cooked. Now, I like cutting them into 1-inch thick slices. You don't want them too thin or too thick, but I find that roughly 1-inch slices work best, especially since it's kind of a smaller French toast, like lengthwise, widthwise. I want it to be a little bit thicker to get more for your buck. And like that. Beautiful. Now I'm going to start soaking my bread pieces. Now the stove isn't on as of yet because I do want them to kind of soak in for a little bit, and we're gonna move on to the stove now. So the trick to cook French toast is really low and slow. I have some Kerrygold pure Irish butter here. I really like how this works with French toast. It is salted, but I find that it kind of accentuates like the sweetness of the French toast. And you want to cook it low and slow because you want the outside to be crisp, but the inside to be still like soft and luscious and like, so delicious. If you cook it on high heat, the inside won't cook, so it'll be like with a raw, eggy middle, and no one wants that. So we're just going to cook it on low and slow. We have it on medium-low right now. After about a minute, the butter's still melting. I just flipped over my French toast pieces, let the other side soak in well. Now, after about 7 to 8 minutes, you can see how brown and toasty it got. Beautiful. I'm going to add a little bit more butter so the other side can get brown and luscious like this as well. If it doesn't have butter, it tends to be on the lighter side, I find. So I tend to feed it some butter while it's cooking throughout. Now, once you do the first flip, after about 2 minutes, that's when you want to add your second batch into the egg mixture. You don't want to add this too early because then the bread will soak it up and become really mushy. So this is the point where you want to add that, and after about a minute or so, flip the bread, let it soak on the other side, and then by that time, this will be ready. Now the second half of the cooking, this is the other side, won't take as long as the first side because the pan is also still heating up. So it took maybe about like 4 minutes on the other side. See how brown and luscious it got because of that extra butter? I don't know, butter just makes everything better. So I'm just going to take it out onto a plate and then put in our other French toast. I'm going to add some more butter. Add about a tablespoon at a time in between. Lower the heat to low now instead of medium-low because the pan is already hot. And you do want to do this in batches just to not crowd the pan and let each of the French toasts get their space, basically. We're going to add this. Also, the amount of egg mixture that we had made is perfect for one vanilla brioche like loaf, except for the end pieces. I'm not really a fan of end pieces, so this I'm going to use for something else. You can add an extra egg and maybe 1/8 of a cup more milk to use up the whole loaf if you want to. Now, after about 4 to 5 minutes on each side, they're toasty brown and luscious in the middle. They look beautiful. I'm going to just remove them off the heat, take a really nice picture with them, and serve. I hope you guys try it out. A super easy, delicious French toast recipe that looks so good. Assalamu alaikum.